according to law enforcement sources, that her body was not intact. And that it appeared that she may have been dead inside that car for an extended period of time.
Disturbing new footage shows a teenager found dead in David's car, and it's gone viral, leaving people shocked and confused. What makes it even worse is that David actually knew the victim, and their connection was much deeper than just friends. While he's staying quiet about the truth, new details are coming out, and they don't look good for him. Here's what happened. On September 8th, 2025 employees at Hollywood Tow on Bluebird Avenue made a terrifying discovery. A few days earlier, on September 3rd, they had received a Tesla that was towed from Daney Drive in the Hollywood Hills. At first, workers noticed a strong, awful smell coming from the car, and it got worse each day. Finally, they called the Los Angeles Police Department. When LAPD officers arrived and opened the Tesla's front, the small storage space in the front, they were hit with the overwhelming smell of death. Inside, wrapped in a bag, was a badly decomposed body. The remains were so damaged that investigators couldn't even confirm if the victim was male or female at first. This wasn't a normal case. It was the start of a homicide investigation, connected to one of music's rising stars, David Anthony Burke, better known as David. According to NBC News, the Tesla was registered in David's name, but that doesn't prove he was the last person to drive it, or even that he was the one using it recently. That uncertainty sparked even more questions. Who had been driving the Tesla? Why was it abandoned in such a well-known neighborhood? And most disturbing of all, how did a teenage girl's body end up inside? For days, police didn't say much as they worked with the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office. The body was so decomposed that identifying the victim took time. Early reports confirmed only one thing: this was a homicide, and David's name was now at the center of a case that was about to make international headlines.
A decomposed, currently unidentifiable dead body has been found in a car out in LA. Who was this car registered to? A famous singer.
But soon the pieces started coming together. On September 17th, 2025, officials publicly identified the victim as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, a teenager from Lake Elsinore, California, who had been missing since April 2024. The announcement didn't just confirm suspicions, it made the mystery even darker. How did a girl who disappeared nearly a year and a half earlier end up inside the car of one of America's biggest rising music stars? The identification came down to a few key details. Most importantly, Celeste had a small but unique tattoo on her right index finger that read, Eshai. According to NBC Los Angeles, that tattoo, along with her jewelry and other physical features, gave investigators enough proof to match the remains to her mother. Devastated but determined, also confirmed her identity. According to TMZ, Celeste's mother actually contacted the media herself after hearing about the Tesla discovery, fearing the victim might be her daughter. When Celeste first vanished, police and volunteers searched everywhere. But without leads, the case eventually went cold. For over a year, her family lived in limbo, hoping she would come home. That hope was shattered in September 2025 when their worst fears were confirmed. So who was Celeste Rivas? To most, she was a bright, lively teen born around 2010 with her whole life ahead of her. Family described her as curious, energetic, and full of potential. But beneath that innocence were troubling signs. Not long before she disappeared, Celeste's mother revealed she had started seeing someone, boy or maybe a man, who went by the name David. Investigators later noted how eerily this matched the real name of rising star, David Anthony Burke. The family never met this David. The connection quickly became one of the central pieces tying her disappearance to the shocking discovery in Hollywood, and the Tesla only added to the mystery. According to Rolling Stone, witnesses claimed the car had been sitting in the Hollywood Hills as early as May 2025, meaning it may have been abandoned for months before being towed. By the time workers at Hollywood Tow finally checked the source of the odor, what they found inside left even seasoned professionals shaken.
Authorities were called to this tow yard. It's called Hollywood Tow. They open the front trunk and they find this body wrapped up in a bag.
The fact that the Tesla sat abandoned for so long raises some serious questions. Why didn't David or anyone connected to him step forward to claim it? Someone else have been using the car? These unanswered mysteries remain at the heart of the LAPD's ongoing investigation.
That the car may just be a secondary location, that there may have been an incident leading to.
How do they process the car? What are they looking for? Fingerprints, DNA, sequence of events? What do they do?
Since Teslas are basically like rolling computers, investigators believe the car could hold crucial evidence. GPS data, door opening logs, dash cam footage, any of it could help piece together who was driving the Tesla in the months before the horrifying discovery.
They store so much data. The car is just as much a computer as it is a vehicle. So there's going to be tons of information stored on the memory board of that car.
When news broke that a body had been found in David's Tesla, the internet went into overdrive. Major outlets like ABC7 and CBS rushed to confirm the facts, while gossip blogs and fan forums lit up with speculation. Some fans argued David was innocent since he'd been on tour at the time, while others believed the connection was too strong to be a coincidence. A few even claimed the whole thing was a setup, with the car being used to frame him.
And not to play conspiracy theory, but there's always a possibility here, right, that perhaps that person who did this, right, wanted the body to be found. If David has nothing to do with this, there is always a possibility that the body was placed in his car.
By September 17th, when Celeste Rivas was officially identified, the case had blown up from a strange Hollywood crime story into a full-blown international scandal. David, the 20-year-old R&B star who rose to fame on TikTok with songs like Romantic. Homicide suddenly found his career hanging by a thread. In just days, he went from selling out shows across America to being linked to the tragic death of a teenage girl. Once the medical examiner confirmed that the body found in David's Tesla was 15-year-old Celeste, shock quickly turned to outrage. This wasn't just a mysterious death anymore, it was the death of a child. Almost instantly, online investigators started digging and built a disturbing theory. Not only did Celeste know David, but the two may have been in a romantic relationship. Celeste's family had suspected this from the start. Her mother told reporters that in the weeks before her disappearance, Celeste had begun dating someone named David. She feared that her daughter's boyfriend might have been the singer himself, whose real name is David Anthony Burke. From there, speculation exploded. Alleged Discord chats surfaced online, supposedly showing conversations between David and Celeste going back to 2022. That time, Celeste would have been just 12 years old while David was 17. The chats appeared flirtatious, and by 2023, when Celeste was 13 and David was 18, their connection allegedly turned into a relationship. These claims fueled accusations of grooming, when an older person builds trust with a child in order to exploit them later. If true, the legal consequences could be devastating. In California, the age of consent is 18, meaning any sexual contact between David and Celeste would legally qualify as statutory rape. Adding fuel to the fire, photos began circulating online that appeared to show the two together. One image showed them in matching Hello Kitty outfits. Another pointed to a matching tattoo, the letters ESH inked on both of their fingers. To many, this was no longer coincidence. It was proof of a personal, possibly intimate connection. One of the biggest debated details in the case was Celeste's tattoo. According to Fox LA, the letters ESH etched on her right index finger helped officials confirm her identity, but online people noticed something else. David had a nearly identical tattoo. To many, that wasn't just coincidence, it looked like a private symbol between them, a possible mark of intimacy. Others argued it was being blown out of proportion by social media. Still, for the public, the tattoo became one of the strongest pieces of evidence linking the two together. If the alleged relationship between Celeste and David really started in 2022, as the leaked Discord chats suggest, then the age gap is impossible to ignore. Celeste would have been just 12 to 14 years old, while David was between 17 and 20. A 5-year difference isn't unusual for adults, but when one person is a child, under California law, it changes everything. Experts pointed out that any sexual contact during this time could mean charges of statutory rape, grooming, or even federal child exploitation crimes. Suddenly, the case wasn't just about a tragic death. It hinted at something far darker. Meanwhile, investigators stayed careful with their words. As of September 18th, David has not been named a suspect. Police confirmed the Tesla was registered to him, but stressed that this fact alone doesn't prove he was involved. Instead, they're digging deeper into Celeste's digital footprint. Her Discord account reportedly went silent 3 months before she disappeared, which could line up with her last possible contact with David. Detectives are now reviewing her phone records, online chats, and any surveillance linked to the Tesla to piece the puzzle together. But one question stands out above all: why was the Tesla abandoned? The car had been missing for weeks before it was found, which raises disturbing possibilities. If David wasn't driving it, then who was? Could it have been someone in his circle? Maybe a friend, a crew member, or even a stranger with access to his vehicle? And was the car left in the wealthy Bird Streets neighborhood by accident, or was it deliberately placed there to eventually be discovered?
But there's always a possibility here, right, that perhaps that person who did this, right, wanted the body to be found, and whether or not there is a situation where they wanted to throw suspicion on him.
Online patience for nuance has run out. Leaked Discord chats, photos, and tattoo comparisons convinced many that David wasn't just connected by coincidence. On X, hashtags like #DavidExposed and #Groomer began trending. Viral posts accused him of being both a predator and a killer. Even without confirmed evidence, plenty argued that the alleged relationship with a 14-year-old was enough to condemn him morally, if not legally. Others pushed back, saying the evidence was flimsy and David was being unfairly targeted because of his fame. The result was a bitter divide. Law enforcement urging due process on one side, social media rushing to convict him on the other. The fallout was immediate. Brand deals were dropped, concerts canceled, and David's streaming numbers started falling. Meanwhile, Celeste Rivas's family continues to grieve, forced to watch their daughter's name tangled in headlines about exploitation, grooming, and murder. This case is no longer just about a body found in a Tesla. It's about what happens when allegations of grooming, celebrity power, and a homicide collide. The discovery of Celeste's body in a Tesla registered to David sent shockwaves through Los Angeles, the music industry, and online communities. And as the frenzy cools deeper, questions remain. What does this mean for David's future? Police eventually arrest him? Career survive being linked to such a tragedy? And how does this compare to other musicians whose names became forever tied to murder investigations? The answers aren't simple. On the surface, it seems obvious. A teenage girl's decomposed body was found in the front trunk of a Tesla registered to a rising music star. To many, that feels like an open and shut case. Legally, things are far more complicated. Detectives currently label him a person of interest by default because his name is on the registration. Yet forensic challenges remain. Celeste's body was so badly damaged. Celeste's body was so badly decomposed when discovered on September 8th that investigators couldn't even confirm her gender at first. With no fingerprints, no murder weapon, and no DNA directly linking, prosecutors are left with only circumstantial evidence. Still, those connections, especially the Tesla, continue to raise suspicion. Experts warn, however, that without new breakthroughs, digital forensics from the Tesla toxicology results or verified online messages and arrest may not come soon. For now, the LAPD remains cautious, leaving a wide gap between public speculation and legal action. But even without charges, the impact on David's career has been devastating. Within days, brands like Crocs and Hollister pulled the plug on lucrative partnerships that had cemented him as a Gen Z-style icon. Their message was clear: no youth brand can risk ties to an artist linked with the death of a 15-year-old girl. The damage didn't stop there. On September 17th, just hours after Celeste was identified, David canceled his Seattle show, citing personal matters. Fans who had traveled to see him left disappointed, angry, and confused. Now uncertainty hangs over his upcoming Los Angeles show at the Greek Theater, a concert once billed as a career milestone that could now mark the end of an era. Streaming numbers tell the same story. According to pop spoken plays of his breakout track, Romantic Homicide fell 15% in a single day after Celeste's name was revealed. For an artist built on TikTok virality and Spotify playlists, this kind of drop is catastrophic. If outrage continues, curators may quietly pull him from playlists altogether, a near-death sentence in today's music industry. Behind-the-scenes collaborations are being shelved. Artists who once celebrated his aesthetic now want distance. Even his label Interscope offered only a neutral statement, promising cooperation with authorities. No defense, no loyalty, just silence. In the entertainment world, silence often speaks louder than support. What makes David's case stand out is the overwhelming role of social media. In past decades, stars accused of crimes faced rumors in tabloids. Today, trials unfold in real time on TikTok, Reddit, Instagram, and X. On TikTok alone, videos about the case have pulled in over 100 million views. Conspiracy theories spread quickly. Claims that David was framed by rivals, that industry insiders planted the body, or that the Tesla was abandoned deliberately to ensure discovery. On Reddit, communities like True Crime and Roptheads pick apart alleged Discord messages, timelines, and even David's lyrics for hidden meanings. This digital courtroom has already reached a verdict. For many online, David is guilty, whether or not the LAPD ever proves it. In today's entertainment economy, public opinion can matter as much, sometimes even more, than legal outcomes. This isn't the first time music careers have collided with allegations of murder. To understand David's uncertain Future, it helps to look at history. Phil Spector, one of the most influential producers of the 20th century, credited with pioneering the legendary Wall of Sound. His career collapsed in 2003 when actress Lana Clarkson was found shot, dead inside his California mansion. Spector insisted it was a suicide, but prosecutors pointed to his long history of pulling guns on women. For a mistrial in 2007, a second jury convicted him of second-degree murder in 2009. He was sentenced to 19 years to life and died in prison in 2021. Today, Spector is remembered less for shaping the Beatles and the Ronettes than for violence and murder. Another case is Varg Vikernes, the Norwegian black metal musician whose name became synonymous with infamy. In 1993, he stabbed fellow musician Øystein Euronymous Arseth to death in Oslo, a killing fueled by rivalries and paranoia within the extreme metal scene. Convicted of murder, arson, and other charges, Vikernes served 16 years of a 21-year sentence, the maximum under Norwegian law. Although he was released in 2009 and still makes music, his legacy is forever tied to the killing and the wave of church burnings that scarred Norway in the 1990s. Varg Vikernes wasn't the only musician tied to murder. Snoop Dogg, one of the most iconic rappers of all time, also faced charges early in his career. In 1993, just after releasing his debut album, Doggy Style Snoop and his bodyguard were accused of killing Philip Woldemariam, a gang member, who was shot in Los Angeles. The case became a media spectacle, with prosecutors trying to frame Snoop as a gangster rapper whose lyrics glorified violence. For nearly 3 years, Snoop fought for his freedom. In 1996, he was acquitted after the defense proved the shooting was self-defense. He walked free, but the trial left a permanent mark on his image. In the years that followed, Snoop rebuilt his reputation and went on to have one of the most successful careers in hip-hop history. Still, in his early years, the shadow of that trial followed him everywhere. Lesson from these cases is clear. When musicians face murder allegations, the outcomes vary. Some are convicted, some are acquitted. Some never make it to trial, but almost none escape without damage to their careers. For David, the situation is no different. Even if he is never charged, his name may always be linked to Celeste Rivas. For her family, this isn't about celebrity or music. It's about justice. They've asked for privacy, but their daughter's story has already become the center of a global scandal. So where does this leave things? Future now hangs by a thread. He hasn't been arrested, but the investigation continues. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion has already delivered its verdict. Brands have dropped him, tours are falling apart, streaming numbers are sliding, and millions debate whether he is a groomer, a killer, or simply a scapegoat. David the Shadow is already here. The Tesla, the tattoo, the timeline. Each has tied his name to Celeste in a way that cannot be erased. As investigators keep digging through data, DNA, and digital evidence, one truth remains. The tragedy of Celeste Rivas will haunt both her family and the career of the young singer forever. The world now waits. Will this end with charges or with silence? Either way, the damage is already done. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to watch another story like this, click on one of the boxes on your screen.